spoil that shit. I'm just gonna get to what I really wanted to do today. Like, hey Sean, I seen this video. I was so geeked the other day, or like nigga earlier this week. I was like, bro, I gotta watch this shit on the stream, like nigga. So I'm gonna do it right now, bro, cause nigga, I mean, oh my god, it's right here. It's right here. My Wi-Fi ain't that fucking bad. I swear to God.
You've never used samples like this before.
No, I don't swear on God.
I stopped paying for all my other samples.
Who are the most influential artists of all time? Some people might
Is
say
the audio
Van
double?
Gogh,
Let me know
who
so I can just put the
pioneered
headphones
future
on.
art with bold, expressive colors and emotional paintings of the French countryside. Other people might say Prince, the flamboyant, androgynous guitarist with the voice of an angel. Other people would say the Beatles, the rock band who transformed popular music forever.
Stream buffering again?
Songwriting, production,
Oh
and
my
some
God.
people would say Young Thug, the rapper from Atlanta who came and turned hip-hop upside
Fuck it.
down forever. Seriously though, Young Thug has become by far the most influential rapper
Tayshaun, do I turn it down?
15 years of him making music, which also means he's ended up influencing an entire generation of rappers and even pop stars. But when Young Thug showed up in Atlanta in the early 2010s, he was quickly rejected by the outside world. His music was massively weird, if not just downright incomprehensible.
Yeah, on the other side, bitch.
But just like Van Gogh, whose style was considered illegitimate during
This the best artist to ever touch artistry. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. Other than Michael Jackson, you feel what I'm saying? This is like he's second, but the audio is coming from the speakers. It's not coming from this shit.
his lifetime were the Beatles, who were mocked
It's
and
not.
laughed when they first came out. Young Thug
Oh my
is
God, I hate
another
when this shit
example
happens. It's
of
cool,
how
bro.
artists being
We just gotta lock
nothing
in.
but a joke when they first come onto the scene. So the question is, how did Young Thug transform from a misunderstood outsider?
No, bro, I hate this shit, bro. Why does it do this?
Into one of the most
Ooh, it got it.
influential
I got it.
artists alive. How did he go from the most violent house
Now I gotta-
projects to
now I
fine
gotta
art
turn this
museums
down.
around the world? Why is he one of the most influential but still misunderstood artists of our time, both
Why?
literally and metaphorically? This
Why?
is the story of Young Thug.
This
In the
is
summer of 1991, a kid named Jeffrey Lamar Williams was born on the south side of Atlanta, Georgia, and he had
this right here. This the go. Y'all open y'all eyes. Understand who the fuck this is, nigga.
Atlanta, he was
Jeffrey!
in the 90s
Jeffrey!
and 2000s, was a place of extreme energy. On the one hand, it was becoming the center of the new era of hip-hop. When Jeffrey was a baby in 1994, Outkast dropped their debut album, and after years of the East and West Coast dominating the airwaves, Atlanta exploded with creative energy. The city became the capital of unique, expressive personalities telling colorful stories about street life in a way that had never been done before. But on the other hand, the street life that served as the source of inspiration for the city's rising stars was a whole other story. Once being called the city in a forest with 48% of the city's land being covered in trees, Atlanta has always had a unique layout. That can mean beautiful, wealthy neighborhoods.
I ain't gonna lie. What y'all don't know about me is that I actually lived in ATO for like 5 years, twin. Fight your time out. Fight your time out, twin. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I just had to move out and change my life and shit, change the scenery. But I did. I was a native and shit back in the day.
Neighborhoods with mansions and parks throughout the city, but on the other side of the coin, its most dangerous areas are often called dark and menacing. Combining the countless secluded winding streets with Atlanta's long history of racism and redlining, and what you get is some of the most infamous ghettos in modern America. And one tiny island in Atlanta's sea of trees was Jonesboro South, the housing project that Jeff...
Oh my God. That's why that song is Jonesboro. If y'all don't, nah, y'all know what I'm going out of Georgia, huh? You know what I'm saying? That's that one right there. Thug knew what he was doing. He made that motherfucker. Now I see why he was going so hard. It's because it was his hometown. On God, you see, y'all learn something new every day, bro. You just gotta lock in, and that's why you learn with me. You feel what I'm saying? Because I am a teacher. You feel me? I'm a learner and a teacher. I get the knowledge and I give it to y'all because y'all wasn't gonna peep that if you wasn't really a Young Thug fan. On out of Jonesboro South. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even remember what he was saying, but I know it was hard.
Jonesboro South was widely known as one of the worst places to live in Georgia, with everyday life being consumed by crime, addiction, and violence. With so much of the city being plagued by generational poverty, urban decay, and a lack of opportunities, hundreds of thousands of residents were left trapped in a cycle where making it out was an elusive dream. Young Thug lived in Jonesboro until he was 17, at which point they tore the entire place down and sent people to live somewhere else rather than try the monumental task of cleaning it up. He would later say,
if you play video games, you might be
Fucking God, bro. I hate ads, bro.
If you play video games,
Shit's gonna make me crash, bro. How can I mute this shit?
last 5 years, you
Take something. How I mute?
some money. There's a lawsuit
How I mute?
in development for video.
Yeah, fuck these niggas, bro. You ain't getting no money off me. Nah, they did,
just
though.
grass. He stayed until they closed it and started knocking down the buildings on the last day. As a little kid, even from his earliest memories, he's surrounded by things that most Americans have never experienced and will only ever see through a screen, if they're aware of it at all.
There's a button?
Later say, the thing you see wrong with me came from the projects, Jonesboro South. With a thin but prominent scar on his right
the fuck?
cheekbone, he says, Jonesboro. You know how roaches look, and rats, right?
Alright, I gotta play the song. Like, I was gonna do it to y'all. But I kinda gotta play it now. Cause, nigga, we need to understand what he was talking about. Like, I'm finna put the lyrics too so we can really lock in. I was gonna do it after, but you know, I'm just a little geek that like. Ooh.
Coming out of Jones,
Borough South,
nigga having goals.
right through your mouth, huh?
Lifetime
Goes
running through the
roof, huh?
pulling out that ghost suck.
Make a nigga poof.
Niggas talking shit, but
What is that to do, huh?
I knew his big homie.
I ain't got the proof,
My spot is on army base.
and I got the, huh?
Say my bitch on vacay.
Put her in a coop.
Change the channel, I wanna see none of these pussy niggas. I been fucking niggas, bitches, and get plenty figures. On the road to riches and got the realest with us. Slaughter gang with me, nigga, knives, not a scissors. Street nigga with a bunch of lies.
Like a tigger.
Y'all niggas just a bunch of dice.
Fucking niggas.
Nigga cold, nigga
No Diddy.
my homie, I can't miss him. Ain't nobody feel him. Tell me what you
See what you saw? I done ran it up against the witch ride.
I'ma take on home tonight. I'm trying to see I'm taking
Home tonight.
I seen it John getting shot at the light. They got the arguing over a new crack pipe. Caught a
Face ain't tight enough.
Let 'em out.
Bitches done bad enough.
What the fuck wrong with these?
Broke ass niggas, yeah.
I told him tag down. I'ma think you pocket watching, don't look at my pants now. My diamonds louder than a fucking ambulance now. That's the bitch from the sideline, stand down. Running through the projects.
Look at all the bras, got a knot in my pocket.
And not in my drawers. Take off like a racket with
13 bras.
in the attic, put the brakes in the walls. No need to talk to me, I'm big dog. I roll the windows up, and now they knowing us. I'm no beginner, yeah. I got my stain up. I told her giddy up. We ran the train on her.
Run out of Jonesboro South.
Nigga having goals.
All through their mouth. Lifetime goals.
Running through the roof. Pulling out the ghost.
Make a nigga proof.
Niggas talking shit, but
But what is that to do?
I knew this big homie, nigga.
And I got the proof.
My spot is on army base.
And I got the proof.
Say my bitch on vacay. Put her in the coupe.
Alright, I'm done. My bad. We back.
It was worse than struggle. That shit was hell. Because growing up in the projects with 10 siblings meant a life of constant struggle.
I couldn't resist it. I had to do it. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to do it. I needed to hear that shit, bruh. And I know now, I understand what it was like going through Jonesboro. You know what I'm saying? And I fuck with you so much more for that, Thug. Real shit, bruh. Oh, God. It's my nigga, bro. No Diddy. It's my mans, bruh. Real shit. Me and Thug damn near came up together. Cause when I was a little jit, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, nigga, when I was that little nigga, sitting down, listening, it was Thug that was there for me. It was none of y'all fuck niggas. Feel me? None of y'all fuck niggas. None of y'all fuck niggas gave a fuck about me, nigga. But Thug did, nigga. What's good, Relio? How you doing, twin? How's your stream, twin? Hey, I might get you on the Discord. Fuck. What do I do? Oh my god, bro. I'm over here watching this shit and I want to watch it for real. But like, alright, I'm gonna say that for another day. My bad, Tishawn. Let me know, twin. Okay. Look, I can't do it today. I can't, because you know, manager right here, he not fucking with that. I gotta get through this video, so I put it on the tube. But what you on tomorrow night? No Diddy. Let me know, twin. We gonna tap in. We might have to, you feel me? But my bad. Let me get back to this.
For Thug and his family, it wasn't a place where childhood innocence was going to last for very long.
My mom had 11 kids out of her womb, you know, so it's like the most, we stayed in projects, so it's an apartment. So, you know, the most rooms in an apartment is 5 rooms. It's never gonna be over 5 rooms in an apartment, so.
A lot of sharing beds kids. And all that, right?
And she adopted 2 of my cousins. So 2 of my cousins stayed with us.
She adopted 2 of his cousins, on God.
Also, we was probably like 18 people in a 5-bedroom apartment.
Does this nigga got auto-tune on for an interview or am I tripping, bro? That's a different type of pool, bro. Y'all niggas don't got that type of pool, nigga. Me and Thug, we can do that. Cause like niggas know us and shit. We can just decide, put auto-tune on the mic and we gonna get on that interview. A lot of y'all fuck niggas out here, you don't got that type of pool.
Yeah.
Fuck is we
It
talking
becomes
about?
easy to see why the youngest of 11 kids would start acting a certain way when you look at what he was surrounded by for most of his life. By the time he was in high school, he ended up fighting with a teacher in a classroom and breaking his arm, which led to 4 years in daytime juvenile detention.
Damn.
Place, huh? Yeah. Nickname.
Wait.
By the time he was in high school, he ended up fighting with a teacher in a classroom and breaking his arm, which led to 4 years in daytime juvenile detention.
Thug ain't ever told me he did that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, real nigga.
Rough motherfucking place, huh? Yeah. Nicknamed the Lil Haiti for a reason. For financial and stability reasons. Man, we got the name. That's what we got the name. We came up with the name because of that. How close it was to how we was. Like the way I was raised, the way I lived, the way my house looked, the way everything around me looked and felt.
When he was 9 years old, his older brother Benny was killed in front of him. His lawyer would tell the story in court many years later. A 9-year-old boy sees his brother Benny collapsed on the ground after being shot in the chest. Someone calls 911, but when the police finally arrive, they don't rush to help him. Instead, they handcuff the boy's mother, who screams.
Wow. This is the shit I be talking about, bro. Fuck the police, nigga.
Screaming and
Nigga, Dr. Dre and them had it right back in the day, nigga. Fuck the police, nigga. Fuck the police, nigga.
crying hysterically. They push her to the ground. When the cops finally go over to Benny, they just put a sheet over his face. His
Nigga, they didn't even try and help this nigga, bro?
father also spent time in and out of prison while he was a kid. But Jeffrey was different. Even from a young age, he was quickly becoming someone
I ain't gonna judge.
with a mind and a vision of his own. When he was 12 years old, he got punished for wearing his sister's shoes.
I ain't gonna judge.
He would later say, when I was 12, my feet were small enough that I wore my sister's glitter shoes. My dad would whoop me and say, you can't go to school like that because you'll embarrass us. But I never gave a fuck what people thought. And never caring what people thought would quickly become his greatest asset.
Y'all gotta hear this nigga, bro. That is my mans. That's why I'm not judging that nigga. He fucks we talking about. Nigga, that's why he like this now, nigga. Y'all, a lot of these niggas, bro, they be scared to be different and shit. Thug was never scared, nigga. He went to school, nigga. He could have went to school with them heels on. Nobody was gonna talk to him, nigga. Cause they not rapping like this, nigga. Fuck is we talking about?
In a world designed
They not coming out of Jonesboro South.
for him to fail. It might sound like a kid who wears
Niggas having dreams running through their mouth.
girls' clothing and fights with teachers is the last person who would ever escape the hood and become a star. But in reality, that tendency, that ability to do whatever he wanted no matter what anyone thought, would end up being his greatest strength. And in the late 2000s when he was a kid, Atlanta rap was becoming bigger than ever. And for someone like Young Thug, watching people from his side of town find huge success and achieve things that no one else around him ever had it started to look like one of the only ways that he might be able to have a chance at changing his life. But it just so happened to be the case that Young Thug was born with the ability to come up with insane melodies off the top of his head. He would later describe...
What? You putting a dress on with Thug? Nah, he got that, but I'll be there to support twin. PR.
It in a nonchalant way, like he was trying to play it cool, saying anyone can rap if you've got brains.
Thug, if you ever see this, I genuinely fuck with you, bro. Real shit.
So I just went with it. But the journey he was about to go on would get a whole lot deeper than that. The very first Young Thug song that you can still find anywhere online is from about 15 years ago, in early 2010, when he was 18 years old, years before he even started posting his own music. But it's actually kind of great. This early song is a feature verse on a single from Cash Out, another rapper from Thug's area, and it was so early on in Thug's career that he barely even looks like Young Thug, let alone sounds like him. Despite him now being in prison for sex trafficking, in 2010, Cash Out was much more known than Young Thug. I mean, Thug hadn't even decided how...
Can we... Alright, I gotta listen to it. Let me see if they're gonna play it.
Yet, with Young Thug being written.
Let's see if they're gonna play it. If they don't play it, I'm gonna play it.
Video. And in this song, Thug's sing-songy verse is pretty catchy, even though it's basically a different genre of music versus what he makes now.
You know I throw the work and they catching it like mouse. And what I'm talking real, man, I think I need the flouse. You know I'm reading up on the first and the fall. I had to throw.
And while this track is pretty much...
Bro, Thug, bro, y'all realize how ahead of his time this nigga was, bro? 2010 to be rapping like that is ridiculous, nigga. Niggas was not doing that, bro. Oh God, bro. This might be the... He might be top artist. Like, there's not a lot of niggas fucking with Thug out here. I ain't gonna lie.
Forgotten nowadays, hearing him before he had achieved any fame at all is pretty interesting, especially when you realize that even on the very first song he was ever featured on, Thug was already starting to outshine the artists around him.
After I completed the Google UX design certificate,
Chat, am I glazing?
I ended
Is this
up
glaze?
jobbing.
I hope I'm not glazing. Let me go back.
Thug was already starting to outshine the artists around him. And then, about a year after the track with Cash Out, Young Thug dropped his first mixtape, I Came From Nothing. He didn't really sound like himself yet. Honestly, this entire mixtape feels like a tribute to Lil Wayne, not just in his vocal delivery, but the flows as well. At certain points in this mixtape, it's hard to tell the difference. In a lot of the verses, he structured...
You said just a little bit? Alright. I'll tone down shit. I'll bring it down.
Each line with a little punchline at the end, and it just really makes me feel like I'm listening to old Lil Wayne songs, to the point where I even hear Wayne in his voice more than I hear Young Thug.
Wayne, and Wayne. I won't listen to nothing else. The fact that the nigga got like 100 M's and he still rap every day, it's amazing.
But by the time he came out with I Came From Nothing,
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, all y'all niggas that want to be aspiring artists and shit, you really trying to be the best at what you do, be at the top of your game, you gotta rap every day. On God, that's like the only way you could get better. You rap every day for like a month, nigga. You rap every day for like 2 weeks. By the time you end up 2 weeks, you gonna be like, damn, I'm making hot shit. I promise you. You rap every day for like a month, you like, oh shit. You rap every day for like 3-4 months, now you become an artist for real, for real. You feel what I'm saying? I don't even consider myself in that genre. But I think, you know what I'm saying, every once in a while, I can't, if I try and get on here and rap after I ain't rapped in like 3 weeks or a week, it's going to sound a lot different than if I was rapping for a week first, and then that was the day that I decided to get on stream, was the end of that week or something. Cause nigga, I swear to God, like the bars, everything just start flowing faster. It's like, nigga, it's just natural.
3, a year after that, he sounds a lot more like himself. The vocals became more eccentric, with unpredictable cadences, strange inflections, and high-pitched melodies and ad-libs. The flows switched from laid back to sharp and then back again, unlike the setup, punchline flow he was doing over and over before. Honestly though, especially with Came From Nothing 2 and 3, I can really see how hard...
What gang sign she just put? Hey, WHQ podcast though, I forgot to mention that earlier. That shit fire. Alright, where I might figure out if I ain't gonna lie, we going till my Mac die. So whenever my Mac dies when we get off this bitch. But if it don't die before, let's see where we at. We at 59%. It's not too good. It's not too good. Let's see how far we get. I think we can finish this and maybe touch something else.
Just off how you can really see Thug's evolution start to come together,
But
even
this
when
a long
he was
ass
so
video.
inexperienced. By the time he made the third mixtape, he sounds much more spontaneous, confident, One person who has a couple features on this series is Future. At the time, he also didn't have a studio album out yet, having just dropped Tony Montana a few months earlier. When he was making these mixtapes, Young Thug's career was about as deep in the trenches as he could possibly get. He basically wasn't known by the outside world at all. He was working with a local manager named Bobby Patterson, who had a creative studio in Atlanta, and business-wise, they were at a level where Bobby was just posting his phone number on their YouTube channel so you could call him up and book Thug for a show if you wanted to. As far as his public profile went, that was it. A lot of these videos today have millions of views from Thug's cult fan base, but back then, they weren't getting much more than a couple hundred.
Hey, how do you pull that up? We gotta fact check this nigga. It's that time where we start fact checking niggas. Cause how did he just pull up a screenshot from like 10 years ago? Make it make sense. Nigga.
Was a kid.
Fuck is we
all the
talking
way up to
about?
when he
Them fake stats, nigga. I know Young Thug was still touching 10 bands.
20 years old, dropping these mixtapes. One of the most influential and powerful rappers in Atlanta was Gucci Mane. Over the years, Gucci Mane got pretty big. He's been on massive hits like Wake Up in the Sky, Black Beatles with Ray Shremmerd. He's worked with artists like The Weeknd, Mariah Carey, and Usher, but he never really sold out. He stayed tapped in with his hometown in Atlanta even after he had pretty huge mainstream success. After starting his own label in 2007 underneath Warner, he successfully signed countless rappers and producers out of Atlanta like Waka Flocka Flame, Zaytoven, Lex Luger, Young Scooter, Chief Keef, Southside, Nicki Minaj, Migos, Future,
Southside,
Soulja Boy. To be real, Gucci basically ran Atlanta and signed a lot of artists that came out of the city for 15 years.
Damn. Hey, what? It's time to start reading these contracts. I know this nigga just tried to scam him or something. 15 years, nigga? Nigga, that's a blood contract. Them niggas damn near signed in blood, bro. 15 years of my life. That's crazy. How many albums a nigga want out of me in 15 years, bro? Fuck that.
Who? Elton John. That's dope.
That's so
Gucci
Yeah,
is
these niggas hit one of these niggas. Oh, shit. Blood contract.
Why?
Finna get mad. Finna get mad. Alright, let's get back.
That's dope. I went to his house. He's like, let me ask you this.
And one of the artists he signed over the years was Pee Wee Longway, known for songs like Preach It, Fiji Water, and also being in a rap trio with Gucci and Young Dolph called Felix Brothers. And Pee Wee Longway just so
Shout out Young Dolph.
Also grown up in Jonesboro South, being Young Thug's neighbor when they were little kids, years before the music.
Young Thug and me, same project, same everything. Whatever he doing, I'm on his bumpers. Whatever I'm doing, he on my bumper. We locked in, so hell yeah, and I'm.
But the story goes that Pee Wee eventually brought Thug to Gucci Mane's studio to show him the mixtapes that Thug had been working on in 2012. But Gucci already trusted Pee Wee enough that he took $25,000 out of his backpack, gave it to Thug, and signed a contract with
25K, give it to me, nigga, I need it.
him right then and there without ever having heard any of his music. He would later say, when Pee Wee got to the studio, he brought Young Thug and two other guys, and he said, listen, they're hard. They're the ones that got me to start rapping, so sign them. And I had a bag with some money, and I got $25,000 out, and I signed Thug right there. I had never even heard a song from him.
So these other niggas ain't shit.
I told him, I said, listen, I'm gonna sign you. I said, I'm just gonna give you a shot. I said, I don't care if you can rap or not. I know you can hustle, so we're gonna just hustle the music. I'm gonna work with you. I didn't even know if he wrote his music. I really just wanted to help Pee Wee.
But when someone gives you money and access to a studio and lets you do your own thing, not everyone knows what to do with that, no matter how talented they are. Especially a young kid who doesn't have the
give me that opportunity, I need it.
Real work experience in that way. But I think we've already established that Young Thug was different. And so after he met Gucci Mane, he wasn't gonna be an unknown Atlanta rapper for long. Gucci later said, I didn't even really know what I had with Thug. I was just taking a chance. But a week later, I realized he's a star and I need to start putting more focus on him. Because back in early 2013, when Thug first signed to 1017 Records, he literally went right into a recording studio and never left. And I mean that literally.
That same day, Thug didn't leave the studio. He spent the night there. And then I come back and then he'll have all this, you know, he have his sister, he have 30 people in the studio. But he'll never leave. He just always be there recording.
Even in the early days of his career, the people around Young Thug would talk about him working all night, every night, nonstop, until he had made thousands of songs.
Do you smoke gas? No way. Do you got nuts? No way. Yeah, they listen to.
And then, 2 months after getting signed, he dropped 1017 Thug, his first official mixtape. Because thanks to the promo and the push he could now get from being on 1017 Records, this mixtape would be the project that showed the world who Young Thug was. Of course,
I feel like I'm finna shed a tear right now. Am I wrong for feeling like this, bro? Like, I'm just proud. Like, damn, this nigga. Y'all gotta look up to niggas like this, bro. Niggas that really... Why is my mic turned all the way up? I was wondering why it just looked like it was maxing out every time I spoke in this bitch. Tayshawn, you ain't tell me I was so fucking loud, bro. I probably sound ridiculous on this bitch. Hey, thank you for the W podcast, by the way. I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, nigga, it's hard work. You hear me say? Hard work. You hear me? I wasn't really in... Oh, no, I wasn't that one. The second one y'all gonna see, I wasn't in it too much. But it's because I was really tired. My body was hurting. But I was behind the camera making sure shit was getting handled. You feel what I'm saying? Not like I'm always there and shit. But yeah, I almost shed a tear watching this right now.
If you could even understand...
Make sure y'all watch the podcast, HQ on YouTube. You feel what I'm saying?
Understand him at all, because he suddenly no longer sounded anything like his previous mixtapes, or sometimes like a rapper at all. And the song Pikachu would be the first of many Young Thug songs that would go down in history. People still debate Young Thug's vocals today, not agreeing if he's trash or a genius, but back then, this song was just insane. It wasn't something that anyone had ever done before. It's not like he was just going in and doing this for attention. It wasn't even something that anyone knew you could get attention from doing. This is just basically not considered rapping at all by the standards of the time. But underneath the insanity was Thug's ability to actually captivate the listener.
Bro, this nigga hard as hell, nigga. What the fuck, bro? Y'all not hearing him, bro.
With hooks and melodies not like anything else you'd ever heard before. Someone would later write, "In the middle of Pikachu, Young Thug spends 2 minutes redefining what hip-hop sounds like, and then some normal rapper comes in and tries to follow it up on the feature. It's hard to not laugh and feel bad for the poor guy who's eternally gonna serve as evidence of just how creative Young Thug was." Rolling Stone ended up naming 1017 Thug the 5th best mixtape of 2013. Pitchfork would later call it one of the best albums of the first half of the decade, and the song Pikachu would later be ranked as one of the best tracks of the year by Rolling Stone and Spin. Of course, though, none of that would matter at all if the outside world didn't understand him, literally and metaphorically. And so on the one hand, the music magazines and the critics were already calling Young Thug a genius. They would say things like,
"Hey, shout out to them two niggas that just follow me. Whoever y'all is, I love y'all." You feel me? It's peace, love, happiness. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm talking about, but love. Whoa. Tayshawn, cut that out of the video, bro. That was crazy. But love, you feel what I'm saying? Because, nigga, did I just Nazi salute, nigga? Oh, God, I apologize. That's ridiculous. Cut
Young Thug's style marries.
When that go on YouTube, if I see that, Tayshawn, I'm finna look at you. I'm gonna be like, this nigga, bro. I know what type of nigga this nigga is. Just letting you know, right? I'm pointing at the wrong shit, too. This nigga, all right? Please. You know what I'm saying? Please, Tayshawn. Keep that in there, bro. I don't want to be canceled, nigga. I ain't came up yet. Come on.
It's the hook-bending sensibility of Future, the pill-addled yawp of Danny Brown, and the playful irreverence of Lil B under the guiding aura of Lil Wayne.
This nigga just gave me a 10-minute description of how this nigga rap with this style of da-da-da. Nigga, I don't give a
Blogger wrote,
"It's Young fucking Thug, nigga."
Blurs, shouts, whines, and sings, feverishly contorting his voice into a series of odd timbres, like a beautifully played but broken wind instrument. His approach is shape-shifting and unstable. At the same time, though, he wasn't yet really known outside the online.
Let me tell y'all something. A lot of y'all niggas like Cardi. Shout out Cardi. I fuck with Cardi. But Cardi would never have came to be if Thug wasn't there. Thug was the seed. You understand what I'm saying? He was the plant that grew up to nigga be the flower, and then all these other niggas came from that shit. And without this nigga, we wouldn't see a lot of this shit that we see today. Nigga. Y'all gotta give some respect to a GOAT. You feel what I'm saying? A GOAT, nigga. A GOAT.
Music scene. Atlanta trap music wasn't.
I apologize for the glaze.
the massive commercial genre it is now. To put it one way, Young Thug was averaging about 1,000 likes when he posted on Instagram back then. Basically, blogs and magazines were catching on to what he was doing.
This nigga he has 1,000, but look at the shit on his finger right now, nigga. Bust down, nigga. What the fuck is we talking about, nigga?
A lot earlier than the average listener. In 2014, Pitchfork applauded his magnetic presence, his persona, his mystique. In 2013, Consequence of Sound wrote about his off-the-cuff free-form vocals, giving his music an electric, unfiltered energy. But like I said, that was just on the one hand, because on the other hand, the hatred against Young Thug was deafening.
Who the fuck was hating on Young Thug in 2013? Let me come find y'all niggas and it's up. Nigga, fuck is we talking about? It's up, nigga. It's up.
Because it wasn't just that his rapping had come out of nowhere. That's only one part of it. It was his entire personality, everything he said, every outfit he wore. It was all strange.
Characters who are like larger than life tend to do well. There's the two opposites that do well. You know, you have like your Young Thug types that are so cartoony, almost not real. But then you've got like your J. Cole types who become popular because they're the everyman, right? And some people want that. Yeah, you can't be like half weird. You know what I mean? You gotta be either fully weird or just like not weird.
How good was the mute? It was fast, wasn't it? And look, this is what I'm gonna do.
At the same time as Young Thug would hold up a machine gun for a photo shoot, he would wear women's V-neck t-shirts and women's skinny jeans and dye his hair pink. Even in just the first year or two of his career, people would talk about him like he was from another world. Mythology around Young Thug grows every year. Journalists come back with stories about how he eats nothing but junk food, avoids eye contact, and refuses to sit for traditional interviews. His collaborators share wild tales about how he records with exotic animals and makes dozens of songs every day. An endless stream of over-the-top headlines.
Bro, y'all gotta understand, like, this is really making, like, I really hope y'all understand, like, a lot of y'all favorite artists came from this nigga, bro. You see how Cardi like to sit in the dark and shit. This nigga Cardi come in there like this, nigga, like these, nigga. Nigga Cardi come down, nigga. Yo, Cardi, how the music been? You got any new projects dropping?
Paint the picture of a man who
Niggas
operates
farming.
on his own
Or
wavelength,
farming.
carrying a gun under his dress, changing his name on a whim, and winning awards for videos he didn't even show up for. And so, sure, a trap rapper in a leopard print dress is gonna piss some people off, but it was also deeper than that. It was all strange enough to the point that a lot of people just didn't even feel he was a real artist. And then people would later talk about how it was basically taboo to be a Young Thug fan back in 2014. People would say things like, people looked at me like I was remedial for listening to 1017 Thug in 2014, and I still remember when Lifestyle dropped because the amount of hate he got was crazy. But despite the hatred,
What the fuck y'all know about Lifestyle? I done did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle. Oh yeah, Nick came straight from the bottom to the top.
go on to put out 7 or 8 more mixtapes in the next year and a half. Because
Nigga left just never get the beginning. Oh, talking about.
what Gucci Mane said about him early on wasn't an exaggeration. Young Thug basically lived in the studio. He would say, I never leave. All day, every second. Gotta keep the money coming in. And on the one hand, it was for his own good. His manager would say in 2014 that they needed him to keep working so he wouldn't get in trouble with the law. He would say that when he isn't making music, he can be a problem. At the same time though, when he was in the studio, he was thriving. It was non-stop. Mixtapes like Black Portland, Young Thugga, Purple Album, 1017 Thug 2 and 3, Rich Gang Part 1 with Rich Homie Quan. And this outpouring of music didn't go unnoticed. Yeah, after one mixtape, he was loved and hated at the same time, but the reactions to his next mixtapes were only gonna get even crazier. 1017 did have a few songs that got some attention, like Pikachu and 2 Cups Stuffed, but Thug's first real breakout moment into the wider world was Stoner
I was stutter. Oh, I was.
in 2014. A song that's still one of the most memorable songs he ever made, with melodic crooning and stuttering yelping. that make it strangely catchy even now. And then a few months after that, the song Danny Glover was another big hit as Thugger spits electric verses on top of a dark, pulsating trap beat. It was very different from Stoner.
Every time I fuck, I gotta hit me lean like two bitch.
Oh my god, I ain't heard this in a long time.
And then, just a couple of weeks after that, he would drop the most insane and disagreeable song.
Nigga, this nigga was on a ridiculous run. Y'all are not peeping this right now, bro. Come on,
he
bro.
Possibly ever made.
Did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle. It came straight from the bottom to the top, my life.
Lifestyle was one of the most extreme songs Thug had made up to that point. It went massively viral, becoming one of the biggest songs to come out of Atlanta back then. But at the same time, the insane hatred that people had for everything he did was only getting stronger. For some people, it was a cool new sound in the trap scene. For others, it was the worst music they had ever heard.
Niggas that couldn't understand, they just didn't have that ear. You feel what I'm saying? And when you don't have that ear, it sounds insane. Like, what is Cuz talking about? But he's really spitting. He talking about his lifestyle. You feel what I'm saying? The fuck is we talking about? My bad.
Hey yo, I thought he said I like bacon, egg, cheese with mayonnaise.
If you go on forum posts from back
Bitch ass niggas, that shit ain't funny.
in the day when this song came out, this was
Glazing
not
again.
being called
Glazing, I apologize again.
the classic it is now. People were saying, I can't understand this, this is garbage, is Young Thug a dying animal? And it wasn't even coming from random racist online trolls.
Somebody put together a video of him, I think rapping real fast, something like that. He was making noises. It sounded like Courage the Cowardly Dog or something like that. Something like that.
This how they talk about
Lifelong,
Cardi too.
dedicated, serious hip-hop fans were probably angrier than
bitch.
anyone
Hey,
else.
fuck
For them,
you.
the slurred lyrics on Lifestyle were downright offensive. It wasn't real music.
Hey, bro, get to your 9 to 5, nigga, and make your goddamn bread, nigga. It's not even 9 to 5, nigga. You working that graveyard shift, nigga. Get your money right now, nigga. Don't come to me talking about how I need to go to bed, nigga. You can't even go to bed, nigga. Fuck is we talking about? Come on.
What was that?
Fucked up, baby. Got like 4 ounces in the 20.
This is in English, right? What's going on in this video? Is the whole concept just about saying a bunch of nonsense syllables?
Did a lot of shit just to live this here lifestyle.
And apparently one of those things
Hey,
wasn't
you got me
learning
dead
to
as hell
enunciate.
right now.
But at the same time, the huge success of the song was almost like a BC and an AD moment for that entire era of music. Yeah, you couldn't understand a single thing Thug said when it dropped 11 years ago. I remember hearing it as a kid and being like, wow, this is pretty crazy. I can barely understand what he's saying. But if you go back and listen to it today, it sounds pretty normal. If that
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these niggas came off of Cuz. They started mumbling and shit. Cause they was like, oh, I heard this one nigga mumble and it sounded good. Yeah, nigga, you copycat bitch ass nigga. You know where you got it from.
isn't the definition of influence, I don't know what to tell you. Today, the music video for Lifestyle has 700 million views on YouTube. It has 300 million plays on Spotify. It was one of the big early hits for Thug's class of artists, and it was proof that his sound was going to be the mainstream, whether people violently clowned on it or not. Because after that, he just kept going and going. A lot of the stuff that Young Thug did in 2014 and 2015 is still some of the most memorable and iconic trap music ever made. Despite being arguably the most controversial and heavily criticized hip-hop artist at that time, his influence would quickly grow. People online might mock and criticize him endlessly, but major artists were starting to actively seek him out for collabs. For one, Skyfall and Mamacita, he and Travis Scott trading hypnotic verses over psychedelic beats. After being re-released in 2024 for its 10-year anniversary, Days Before Rodeo would become the 4th best-selling rap album of 2024, a decade after it first dropped. And the contributions that Young Thug had on that record were a big part of that. And so while the public simply didn't understand him, other rappers were starting to realize just how unique he was. T.I., one of the most legendary rappers from Atlanta, would describe Young Thug's early career like this. What's it like to chase your dreams in Atlanta? To start off with nothing, to start off in Jonesboro South. It would be likened to the idea of walking into a store and buying a lottery ticket and getting the mega millions. He didn't come from a family that knew how to get him in front of people. These kids were running the streets lost. And at the time, he didn't have a talent that was easily recognizable by the people who were in a position. So he had to work a Rubik's Cube to find himself in a position not only where he could present his art to people, but to where the people he was presenting to could actually understand. The journalist asked because he was ahead of his time, and T.I. replied, completely ahead of it. He still...
And that's why T.I. gave him one of his first bangers. If it ain't about the money, don't be hitting me up. If it ain't about the money, and I'll be wasting our time, if it ain't about the money. You feel what I'm saying?
Is today.
Listen to that nigga ad-libs, 2014. A lot of niggas wasn't doing that. Ski, wait. You feel what I'm saying? Making a lot of noises and shit. Niggas was confused. What you mean? Niggas stuck. Fuck's we talking?
Hey. Then he dropped Best Friend, the platinum certified single with playful flows and unforgettable.
Best Young Thug song. No, it's not, but it's one of the ones. One of them ones. If you could name 5 on your hand, that's one of them ones that's up there, nigga. That's my best friend. Shut your bitch ass up, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's beef with everybody, bro. What's up? You know where I live, nigga. Come here, nigga. No Diddy. But you know what it is, nigga. Fuck is we talking
melodies. Take Care with Lil Wayne, where he sounds like Louis Armstrong impersonating the Cookie Monster. Then there was Good Times in 2015, where Thug raps colorfully on top of a playful UK garage beat by Jamie XX, merging trap and UK garage in a way that had never been done before. Then there was Throw Some Mo off Ray Shremmerd's Shrem Life, featuring a rapid-fire verse from Thug. That would become one of the most streamed songs off the 3 times platinum album. And that's only a few of the iconic cult classic songs that Young Thug was on back then. And if you look back now, many of Thug's verses from these early days of...
Gun to the back of my head, name 5 Thug songs. Alright. Best Friend, we was just talking about it. Wyclef Jean. Let me think. Shit. Hey, I'm blanking just because you did this on God. I'm blanking just because you did this on God. Alright. Oh my God, why did this nigga just ask me this? Fuck you, bro. Alright, let me think. Punk. Recognize Real. Faces. Lifestyle. I don't know if I said that one. Harambe. How many are we at? We at 4 or 5. Fake fan. Fuck y'all niggas. Fuck y'all niggas. I can name 5. Oh, Mr. Big Guy, you can name 5. Oh, all right, bro. Like, you want a cookie, nigga? All right, my bad. But where was I at? I was at 4 or 5. 4 or 5. Where was we at? Y'all go answer me, Because if we not, nigga, I'm finna play this video right the fuck back again, nigga. I said 5.
Atlanta's trap wave laid the foundation for the genre truly breaking into the mainstream a couple of years later. But at the same time, he was still just getting started. And so after a few years of prolific output, people's perception of Young...
Most of y'all niggas, bro. YSL groupie. Wow. Nigga, are we for real, bro? YSL groupie. I ain't even bit. All right, bro. All right, you got it.
Lifestyle being a big song that most people saw as a meme, that alone didn't make him a star. But 9 or 10 more hits after that was a step in the right direction. And
Jeffrey was another one, if I ain't say. Or that might just be the tape name, but... You know what I'm saying?
At the same time, trap music was exploding in popularity. By 2015, it was pretty obvious that...
Nigga... You see this, nigga? This is for you, nigga. I'm not even throwing real punches at you, nigga. It's one of these, nigga. You know who be doing this, nigga. To the skull, nigga. To the skull, nigga. Fuck is we talking about? Come on.
Trap sound was going to define the next era of mainstream hip-hop, and Young Thug was starting to play a pivotal role in that new generation. But after locking in and dropping all these cult hits, building up a fan base that actually loved him, he was now in the exact position where most artists would have to play it.
Y'all ain't never... thrown a stack of cash like that on the ground and picked it up. You feel what I'm saying? Nigga like me, I ain't need to pick it up. Okay, Black Panther. Bro, don't make me drop clip of you digging in your ass. Nigga. What the fuck are you talking about? Nigga, what are you talking about right now? Oh my god,
Safe.
bro, you
Most
not real, bro. I can't believe this, bro.
Would have to gravitate
He
towards a
lied
more
on my
commercial
name and
sound
shit.
when they're trying to build a bigger audience. But Young Thug in 2015 wasn't most artists, because instead he was going to double down on his own unique artistic vision. Because the mixtape run he would go on from 2015 to 2017 would somehow be even more.
This is another one of those ones. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all gotta understand, this tape right here was very controversial at the time. A lot of people didn't like it. Hercules! Yeah!
Saying than what he had already done, and massively more popular at the same time. In 2016, he drops a song called Harambe, where his vocals can only be compared to 3 things that exist on Earth: the jazz legend Louis Armstrong, a broken instrument, and the gorilla it was named after. On Harambe, Thug alternates between guttural screams and growls, hoarse singing, and ad-libs that sound like they're being torn straight out of his mouth. Even his delivery was insane. On this song, he completely abandoned conventional rap flows to create a song that sounds a lot more like an experimental jazz performance than a trap song.
Zen Business is your worry-free solution.
Not getting no money off of me.
More like an experimental jazz performance than a trap song. But even though
Y'all favorite artist not even rapping like this.
Harambe didn't really become a hit, and it's not even most people's favorite Thug song, I've never been able to forget it. For me personally, it's the perfect example of why Young Thug is actually a musical genius. If you listen to the instrumental off Harambe,
Fuck is you talking about? Don't act clueless, nigga. This is some shit that ain't never happened in your life, nigga. You just talking all this. You talking all that dog shit, nigga. I ain't never seen. Pull up the clip then. Pull up the clip then, nigga. You got the chat right here, nigga. Come on, they want to see it too. Let me know. Let me know something I don't. Come on.
Harambe, and then you pay attention to what he does with his voice on this song, it's very difficult to imagine how he came up with the complexity of the melody and the flow while keeping it all on the beat. You can really do this with like 80% of the songs Thug's ever made. The flows and the melodies that he comes up with all work, but it also makes no sense. It hurts my brain to even try and think about how you could come up with something like this. And that's what I mean when I say it's abstract. His flows, his voice, he's not someone who's gonna go into the studio and just make a song with a regular old trap triplet flow. He's someone who's coming up with something completely unique, completely abstract, stuff that no one else has done before. And for me personally, and millions of other people,
Hey, chat, ban this nigga for 1,000 days. Ban this nigga for 1,000 days. Don't let him back in. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. Don't ever come in my chat saying shit like that, bro. 1,000 days, nigga. I don't even care. I don't know how many seconds that is, nigga. 1,000 days, nigga. Make sure he can't come back for 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4th year, nigga. We gonna see.
that's why Young Thug is one of the most interesting artists of the last generation. But somehow though, Harambe wasn't even the most notable moment of the Jeffrey mixtape. I think what got the most attention from this project was the controversy of Thug wearing a giant lavender skirt with arm wraps and a white shirt for the album cover. It was our—
Man, I remember when Thug told me he was gonna do shit like that, bro. I was like, bro, I don't know, bro. You know there's gonna be a lot of controversy, a lot of niggas talking shit and shit. He was like, you know, I gotta do it, twin. I gotta make sure we pop and shit. I was like, shit, you know what you doing. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't never gonna tell a nigga not to do something that's gonna help them fix their career and shit. Not fix their career. He already had a good career, but put them up even more. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I just told Thug, you know what I'm saying, do what you gotta do, twin. And I'm gonna be there, you feel what I'm saying? No Diddy, no Glaze, you feel me? I'm just support, twin.
already publicly known that Thug had been kind of into women's clothes for years, but this was different.
Yeah, bro, get your clips up, little nigga. I be seeing you at that work, nigga. You be like this. Let me tell y'all how a Raw 6K stream goes. Hey, Chris. Hey, bro, what you think I should do? What you think I should do next? You know they don't be letting me do too much shit over here. You know my manager watching right there. I'd be like, damn, nigga, it's like that. You can't even talk on your shit, nigga. Like they got you, nigga. It damn near feel like Rock got a gun to the back of his head in GTA. In the back of his head, nigga, they controlling this nigga. They not letting him talk. I gave you a good clip, nigga. What you mean? Nah, I'm saying just nah. I did. I get good clips every day. Sometimes.
This was a giant statement about not giving a fuck what anyone thinks.
When you do put on the dress, like, is that more for shock, or is that just what the vibe that you on at that time? No, it's just like, fuck, I wanted a cheetah print long shirt. I couldn't find one. I seen this, I'm like, yo, this shit is, and it's just like, I wasn't thinking at all. It wasn't even I'm finna try to shock the world, or I'm finna clout. I don't care about clout. Yeah.
Borrowing the dress from an Italian designer from Milan, him in the dress on the album cover had this giant, dramatic, theatrical look that went against every expectation for how a rap artist should dress. And people's reactions were intense and polarizing. Some people praised Young Thug for—
Bro, what is this nigga talking about leopard print? Nah, this gotta be a different clip. They can't just be adding shit together like that. It don't make sense.
for challenging gender norms in hip-hop. People were writing think pieces about what an eccentric genius he was, but other people also used it as yet more fuel for mocking him.
This nigga put the dress on for attention. You did that shit because you knew, man, ain't nothing nobody can say about me because I'm real out here and I'm thorough and this shit gonna get me a lot of burns, so I'm finna do it.
Years later, though,
I ain't gonna lie, T.I. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with you because you made that. If it ain't about the money, but like, y'all, you can't just be gumming on here just talking to Thug and shit like that, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gotta have civilized conversations talking about shit like that. All right.
Jeffrey Dress would end up touring museums around the world as part of an exhibit for gender bending in fashion, visiting cities like Boston, Amsterdam, and more. And the exhibit included a quote from Young Thug. It said, "The garment aligned with Young Thug's personal beliefs. In my world, you can be a gangster with a dress, or you can be a gangster with baggy pants. I feel like there's no such thing as gender." Jeffrey as a whole probably did become one of Young Thug's most iconic projects, but it was still just one small piece of the puzzle with everything baggy pants. I feel like there's no such thing as gender. Jeffrey as a whole probably did
I'm gonna erase that from my memory.
become one of Young Thug's most iconic projects, but it was still just one small piece of the puzzle with everything he was doing back then. Barter 6 was his first true introduction to the mainstream at the start of 2015. It was ranked by many publications as one of the best albums.
Hey, Nightbot, where the fuck you at, bro? I done told you to ban this nigga about 10 minutes ago, nigga. 1,000 minutes, nigga. 1,000 days, nigga. Get this nigga out of here talking about Thug not gonna let you hit, bro. Fuck is you talking about, nigga?
Of the year, and it was his first project to hit the Billboard charts with the most polished production of any of his projects to date. He also created some pretty huge cult hits like Halftime and Check, and Slime Season 1 and 2 came out just a couple months after that. These were massive.
Niggas gonna get to banning niggas. Niggas only got 2-3 people in chat. You can't even be doing that shit.
Mixtapes that showcase Thug's most completely unfiltered, insane flows, and they became huge hits among his biggest fans with their abstract psychedelic sound. One critic wrote, "As always, Thug pulls melodies out of thin air as he raps like the walls are closing in around him. Songs like Rari and Mine and Take Care with Lil Wayne are still some of my favorites Thug has ever made to this day."
The portfolio.
See, Rari hard too. Y'all don't even know about that. Like, y'all wasn't in the.
But then after that, just 3 months later, he dropped I'm Up, and this mixtape would be much shorter, but it still has a ton of iconic songs packed in with frantic production and some of the most insane flows he had used yet. The beat from For My People feels more like an ASMR noise than a trap song, but he somehow floats on it anyway. And then Hercules is an insane 5-minute masterpiece where you hear him snarling, screaming, floating, and transforming on top of dark, imposing organs and thundering bass. Despite the simplicity, he was delivering an energy like no one else at the time.
I'll make your bitch stop. Ice inside my TikTok. Cost cookies, no Briscoe. I just bought a Cuban link. Flooded, big rocks. Bitches trying to do that me.
And then, less than 5 months after that, he dropped Jeffrey, which would become one of the most loved projects he ever made, with critics calling it the best album of 2016, an amazing blend of extreme excitement and mainstream appeal. Rolling Stone would write that Jeffrey made Thug the most captivating vocalist in popular music as a whole, with a bonus track Pick Up the Phone eventually being certified 5 times.
this was that one though. I ain't gonna lie, nigga. Wyclef Jean. Oh, I get goosebumps thinking about that one. That was a little fruity. No Diddy. But that's that one though. You feel what I'm saying? And this shit, bigger the phone, man. You know what I'm saying?
Platinum thanks to his hook. And then, only 9 months after that, he came back with Beautiful Thugger Girls, one of my personal favorites he's ever made, with the most unexpected sound of anything he had done so far. This mixtape was country trap, and it featured some of Thug's most raw, sensitive vocals on songs like Family Don't Matter and Daddy's Birthday, with subject matter around love, family, and relationships. Just 3 months after that, he and Future dropped Super Slimy, a collaborative mixtape that debuted at number 2 on the Billboard charts, his highest placement yet. At this point, Young Thug finally, after 5 years and dozens of projects, actually left the studio. For the first time since 2011, he would go a year without releasing much music at all. And the reason for that was because his job was completed. He had spent the last half-decade of his life making music non-stop, dropping more than 15 full-length projects, all of them iconic in their own way, in the same amount of time that it would take most artists to do 1 or 2. In reality though, when you actually compare his earliest work to what he was dropping by the time Jeffrey came out, Young Thug himself hadn't changed much at all. Pikachu from 2012 wasn't vastly different from what he was doing in the Jeffrey era. In a lot of ways, he mostly sounds the same. And so the reason why Young Thug went from being a rapper who was essentially a punchline for other people to someone who could style runway shows and make hits, becoming an icon, it was because the world had finally caught up to his vision. In 2018, he was making some of the freshest music around. In 2013, he sounded the same, but the world wasn't ready yet. He had come in with a style and a voice that no one could understand. Sometimes metaphorically, but sometimes literally, people just couldn't understand him. And at first, he was ridiculed, but by the end, he was a star. Because not long after dropping Super Slimy with Future, Young Thug's style had so much momentum that he actually started topping the charts as an honest-to-God mainstream star. When he was featured on Havana by Camila Cabello, that song would become his first #1 hit, earning him a diamond plaque not just in the US.
Hey, alright, I'm sorry I'm done pausing and shit, but isn't she like racist or some shit? Like, there's a reason why we're not supposed to like Camila Cabello, right? Somebody drop it in chat why we're not supposed to like Camila Cabello.
Yes, but literally all over the world, with the track having over 2 billion Spotify plays today. He also made a few appearances on Drake's cult classic mixtape More Life, on Ice Melts and Sacrifices, the latter of which is one of my favorite verses he ever did. Not long after that, his song Goodbyes with Post Malone would rack up 1.5 billion streams on Spotify. And in the summer of 2018, he co-wrote and did background vocals for Childish Gambino's This Is America, which would be another #1 song on the Billboard charts for him, earning him a Grammy for Record of the Year, while the song was certified 5 times platinum. And so by the end of this run, Young Thug was pretty solidified. The influence, the presence, the cult popularity, the mainstream success, it was undeniable. It was clear that he had made a mark in hip-hop and pop music in general forever. But what he did next would be to make sure that no one could ever say he didn't. Because along the way, Young Thug had started his own label imprint, just like 1017 that Gucci Mane signed him to back in 2012. And so in the late 2010s, YSL would create a new generation.
I ain't gonna lie. This picture right here is like a nigga top 10 picture. This shit hard as hell, nigga. Like, I think the whole time now that I'm looking at these niggas, bro, I think there were a lot of these niggas in the back and shit were edited into this picture. But the whole time it was probably an edited picture. I might just be dumb.
Of stars, all influenced by Thug's unique approach to music, helping launch some of the most popular artists of that time, people like Gunna, Lil Baby, NBA Youngboy, Lil Keed, and many more.
Call me dumb. I did not know this nigga. Actually, no.
At the same time though, in many cases, it would go much deeper than music itself. After dropping out of high school in the 9th grade, Dominique Jones was a teenager making a living by dealing drugs on the...
Y'all see what money do for you, bro? Look at this bum ass nigga. And then look at what he turned into. But he's still trash at music. Oh my God. I gotta stop with this shit, bro. I apologize, little baby, but you gotta do better, bro.
Southwest side of Atlanta. By the time he was 17, he was spending time around recording studios affiliated with a lot of the popular local rappers at the time. And before long, the people around him, including the founders of Quality Control Music, started trying to convince him to seriously try music instead of being so close to the streets and risking jail time or worse. But he was reluctant to give up the easy money, and his family needed him to be bringing in that income. But in 2014, he was sent to prison for 2 years after being convicted.
Who is the better Future, Thug, Future, or Gunna? God damn, they don't even want to answer that shit, bro. That really got me torn right now. Cause like nigga, with Thug you getting like you know what sound you getting. Nah, Thug you don't know what sound you getting. Like, but you know it's gonna be some hot shit. Future you do know what sound you getting. You know his cadence and flow a little bit and shit. Like you know how Future get down. But Future always gonna give you some hard shit. It's never really gonna be bad shit. If it's like bad shit, it just sounds like some of his old shit, but it's still hard shit. Gunna though, Gunna is like nigga, Gunna be getting on features and doing some wicked shit, bro. Like nigga, Gunna knows, like, Gunna is really, it's just because Gunna is also a little bit more fresh, though, in my head. I'm still going Thug.
Of drug charges. When he got out, though, he wasn't greeted by a cold, unfamiliar world. Instead, Young Thug...
I might go Gunna. Nah, I'm going Thug.
Thug came and gave him $50,000 to start making music and stay out of the streets for good. 6 months later, his debut mixtape was released, with features from Young Thug, Gunna, and more. And in the years after he got started, Lil Baby would drop countless hits and release some of the most loved and best-selling mainstream trap albums of his era.
Y'all realize Young Thug raised like some of our favorite artists. Like, nigga, we got Gunna and Lil Baby from this nigga. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
With My Turn being the best-selling,
even though Lil Baby, like, you know what I'm saying, but we got Gunna.
Album of 2020 in any genre. And that's only one person that Young Thug helped build from the ground up. Gunna is an artist also from Atlanta who first appeared in a mainstream capacity on the song Floyd Mayweather.
Damn, this don't even look like Gunna no more.
From Young Thug's Jeffrey, but it wouldn't be long before he started building an empire of his own, releasing projects like Drip Season, Drip Harder, and Wanna.
Drip too hard, you gonna stand too close, you gonna fuck around and try out this way.
Quickly became loved for his smooth vocals and flows. Drip Too Hard with Lil Baby racked up over 1.6 billion plays on Spotify, while collabs between Young Thug and Gunna became legendary for their complementary styles and flows. Three-Headed Snake, Hot, Scoliosis, Chanel, Dollars on My Head, Young Thug and Gunna were an inseparable duo in and out of music. Within a couple of years, Gunna was competing for chart positions against artists like The Weeknd, and he was winning. Today, both Lil Baby and Gunna have more monthly listeners than Young Thug himself, but they really only got started thanks to him.
What the fuck? It's just because this nigga went to jail, bro. This shit shouldn't even count.
Helping them out.
I ain't gonna lie, these niggas faking streams or some shit.
One more example of Young Thug being one of the most influential figures in modern hip-hop. When Thug finally dropped his debut studio album So Much Fun on his 28th birthday in 2019 after dozens of mixtapes, trap music had become bigger than ever. 5 or 6 years before, the new trap sound had been quickly gaining steam, and Thug was big in that movement, but it was still kind of indie, it was underground, and it wasn't all that commercialized back then. But after a couple of years, it had become the default sound of pop rap, even bleeding a little bit into mainstream pop, and Thug was bigger than ever. Not only had he been on some major pop hits and had his own hits as well, but he had birthed a ton of artists who all took from his style on top of that. And So Much Fun was his biggest project yet. Songs like Bad Bad Bad, The London, Hot, they were huge hits. And being his first project to debut at #1 on the Billboard charts, it was a huge success, and the same went for Punk, which came out 2 years later. Again, it debuted at #1, it had a huge rollout, all the marketing power behind it, and some of the tracks did do well, but for replay value, it was oddly lacking. A lot of Young Thug's flows on his later projects were simpler triplet flows without the same bombastic energy of his older music. The lyrics would be more generic, they would lack the shock value he used to have. Even his vocals would be more conservative, lacking the insane vocal runs and the melodies he used to produce at a rapid.
I ain't gonna lie. Twin not talking about Punk though. She gave my life, rolling dice. My name got a price, so talk to me nice. I got my money right.
Rate. And so despite, or maybe because So Much Fun and Punk were his biggest, most expensive albums yet, it kind of lacked the character he was always known for. Critics, fans, the average listener, people were a lot less thrilled by what Young Thug was putting out. He was still bigger than ever, like I mentioned, with more industry push, more money. In 2021, he had another #1 hit, Way Too Sexy with Drake and Future, and both Drake and Future said that the song wouldn't have been possible without him, but at the same time, people were a lot less excited by new Young Thug music than they were before. But before Young Thug could come back with a bigger, better project, in May of 2022, he and 28 other YSL affiliates were indicted on a 56-count Georgia RICO Act charge, alleging that his record label was not a crew of rappers, but that they were a gang with murderous control.
God. When this happened, I thought my life was ending.
Over.
Cause I feel like I was a part of YSL. So I feel like I was getting arrested with them. Damn near if police came up to me, nigga, they said, nigga, it's time for you, nigga, we got a warrant for your arrest, YSL, nigga, I would've went like this. Cause I thought I was YSL. Just take me, twin. Oh no, I gotta go with Thug and them, you know what I'm saying? Gunna. You feel me? Nigga, when Gunna came out, nigga, I was fuck Gunna. But you feel me? Gunna is, you know what I'm saying? He did me put it out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits. So it's like, I gotta be mad at it. You feel me?
Atlanta's criminal underworld, with the main charge being participation in criminal street gang activity. He was denied bond multiple times before the trial began, facing up to...
Bro, I don't know what you talking about. Them niggas don't know you, bro. They know me, bro. I was there, nigga. No affiliation. Nigga, you... What I say in the beginning of the stream, bro? I was from ATL, or I'm not from ATL, but I lived ATL for like 5 years, twin. You feel what I'm saying, twin? Fuck is we talking about, twin? Jeffrey might actually let you... Ban this nigga, bro.
125 years in prison. And because of his notoriety in Georgia, being one of the biggest rappers out of the South at the time, it took over a year to select an unbiased jury, with many more jurors being disqualified even after they were selected. But that wasn't all. Once the trial did finally start, 2 judges were recused for conflicts of interest. But as the trial panned out, the very menacing charges that carried a possibly over 100-year prison sentence started to make less and less sense. If the charges against Young Thug sounded unclear, it's because they were. The way that RICO charges work is that he could be convicted of anything anyone in YSL had ever done wrong. But as the trial went on, it became clear that the state of Georgia didn't really have enough evidence to convict anyone, let alone Thug. Being admonished by the judge multiple times over disorganized presentation and dishonest tactics in the courtroom, the prosecution's attacks were starting to fall apart. Eventually, it got to a point where the judge strongly suggested that both sides come together to figure out a plea deal, wanting to avoid a mistrial that would waste massive amounts of time and money after redacted information was accidentally revealed to the jury.
Shout out Thug's lawyer, bro. This nigga was working overtime, triple overtime, you feel what I'm saying? That's how he got out.
Plea deal negotiations took days, with the defense asking for Thug to go home immediately on house arrest, while prosecutors advised for him to get 45 years in prison. It all came to a head, though, when the judge called out that the prosecutors had previously been willing to let him out immediately if he would testify against his co-defendants, begging the question of whether or not they saw him as a threat or they were just trying to make an example out of him.
I just got paid $60.
Y'all not hearing him though, bro. This is what they try to do with black men in this community. I'm not even gonna skip this ad until, actually no, I'm not gonna give him my money. I'm just gonna pause. This is what they try and do with black men in the community. You feel what I'm saying? They try to put us down for no reasons so then they can see us lose. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be winning, but they want to see us lose. They gotta do better. Come on.
As Judge Reese Whitaker noted in her closing remarks, the prosecution's initial offer of probation, which they then took back, seemingly conceded that they didn't think Thug was a danger to the community. While some of the people around Thug had allegedly committed violent crimes, they didn't seem to have much tie to the rapper himself besides text records, rap lyrics, and social media posts that they hoped would collectively paint a menacing portrait to the jury. And so ultimately, Thug agreed to a blind plea. Instead of trying to negotiate with the prosecutors who seemed to be clearly acting in bad faith, he put his fate in the hands of Judge Whitaker, and that move paid off. Later that same day, the judge sentenced him to 15 years probation with no time served in prison, allowing him to go home later that...
Man, shout out Judge Whitaker. She was some fine shit too.
That same day. In the end, by the time Thug was released, it had become the longest trial in the history of the state of Georgia. If you want to see the whole documentary we made covering the insanity of the YSL trial, you can click on the screen to check that.
Hey, that's tomorrow, all right? Y'all stay tuned in. There's more homework, apparently. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah.
Now, the trial also exposed fractures in the YSL Brotherhood when Gunna accepted an Alford plea.
Damn. Oh my God. Now that this nigga said it, bro. No, bro. We watching it, bro. We gotta see why Thug, they was trying to get a Thug and try to lock him up and shit. I gotta see it. But hold on, bro. Why? Whole time, bro. Gunna really didn't have to say nothing. He would have been out, bro. It just would have taken forever. That's why I had to get... Hold on. That's why I had to get out of YSL, bro. It's too much going... Ban this
Killed
nigga,
in
bro.
December of 2022,
Get
getting out
this
of jail
nigga outta
2
here,
years
bro.
before Thug.
Tired
Despite
of
maintaining
saying
his
this
innocence
shit.
and denying testimony against others, many people saw this as a kind of betrayal. The controversy effectively ended his musical partnership and friendship with Thug. Even though Gunna's career continued to flourish commercially, he's been rejected by most of the people in the industry at large. But now, there are a lot of questions about what's going to happen with Young Thug's music going forward. He's rolling out an album called UY Scooty, named after a red hypergiant star with a volume 750 million times larger than our sun, currently being the largest star in the known universe. And that's just kind of how he sees himself. It's how he's always seen himself. But he has a lot to prove right now. His last project, So Much Fun, Punk, and Business is Business, they charted high, higher than his previous work, but they left a lot of his fans feeling like he had sold out and made his music more generic. And so there's a general sense that Thug lost.
I ain't gonna lie. If y'all felt like that, whoever felt like that, you could take it up with me. You know what I'm saying? Because Punk was not that. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all ain't never heard, yeah, get on my dice, rolling the dice, my nigga got a price, so talk to me nice. I got my money right. I know they cut his eyes, but it's alright. I won't be victimized. Judging nobody's people's lives. I'm just signing checks and do what's best for mine. Ain't gotta do too much, cause we gon' recognize. Yeah.
Lost the creative spark that pushed him to make all those mixtapes back in the day. He literally doesn't sound the same anymore. His voice lacks the energy and the raw guttural flows of his older songs. He might be doing more numbers than ever before, but overall, he might have lost the experimental edge that made him so influential in the first place. But he wasn't the only one. General interest in trap music has gone down since COVID, with a lot of fans talking about the genre becoming stale, repetitive, and uninspired in the last few years. It's no longer the sound that any rising artist can just go viral with anymore. And so maybe pop trap really is dead, and no one, let alone Young Thug, could bring it back. But
No, Young Thug will bring it back. I'm telling y'all right now. Y'all gotta pay attention. Keep y'all eyes open.
by the time the world recognized his talent and stopped laughing at him for it, he had already become one of the most influential artists alive. In 2019, they were writing articles called Why Young Thug is the 21st Century's Most Influential Artist, because he didn't just make countless hits of his own and build up a giant cult fan base with some classic projects, but he also inspired the new default sound of pop rap. Lil Uzi, Gunna, Lil Baby, Playboi Carti, these are some of the biggest hitmakers of the current generation of rappers, and they've all copied his ideas and sounds in one way or another. But the craziest part of that is that most of them only managed to master one or two of his flows, never fully recreating the entire style.
This nigga just say that dumb shit. Obviously, they don't want to recreate the whole style, nigga. They not trying to be copying this nigga whole flow.
Would later say that Young Thug was a huge inspiration for Old Town Road after that song became the highest certified song ever with 17 platinum plaques in the US.
Okay. How the fuck does this correlate at all, bro? Somebody make this make sense. Lil Nas X Old Town Road becomes the highest certified. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. He said that it was influenced through Young Thug, nigga. Make that shit make fucking sense, bro. That's like Gaga in the fucking Polaroid cameras, nigga. Can't do it, bro. He did some shit. Vid is muted. Oh shit. Bro, how long has the vid been muted, bro? And y'all just was letting me watch it without y'all, bro. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me tell you.
It's time that it basically still sounds brand new.
I'm going back. Y'all gotta hear what I was hearing.
This is an up-and-coming 22-year-old underground artist who outwardly idolizes Thug, copying a lot of the moves that Thug was making 10 years ago or more. And he's just one example of the underground still copying Thug's moves an entire generation later. Even Playboi Carti's I Am Music, the the most highly anticipated and best-selling rap album of 2025 so far, contains multiple ad-libs, flows, and voices that are clearly directly inspired by music that Young Thug made over 10 years ago. And so maybe Young Thug never fell off at all. When you listen to his music from back in the day, 10 years ago or more, it's so far ahead of its time that it basically still sounds brand new right now. And so if that doesn't make him one of the most influential rappers to have ever picked up a mic, I don't know what would. And so it's hard to not be inspired when you really hear about Young Thug's story. He starts off in one of the most infamously violent, treacherous housing projects in Atlanta, and he's the 10th of 11 kids in a poor family. While he's a kid, he watches one of his brothers get murdered, and his father spends time in and out of prison, away from the home. He goes on to end up in the streets at 9 years old. He spends years in juvenile detention for breaking his teacher's arm, at the same time as he was getting in trouble at home for trying to go to school in girls' clothes. He would later say that he didn't start rapping out of any artistic or creative urge, but because he wanted to make money and get out of the trenches. He said, "Anyone with a brain can rap, so I did it." But once he started rapping, it would turn out that he had a voice unlike anyone else around him. At first, he was hated. People would call him gay, a loser, a bad rapper. He was a joke. His style was so different and so unexpected that it was downright insulting to the rules of what hip-hop even is. Remember all the people I listed at the beginning of the video? That was kind of a bit, obviously, but it also wasn't. Because everyone that I listed is, like, no argument, some of the most loved artists to have ever lived. But they were also all hated when they came out and started expressing themselves in front of people. In his time, Van Gogh's painting style would be ragged on as unfinished and sloppy. Other painters at the time felt like it was a violation of the rules of painting. But 150 years later, Van Gogh's paintings still move people around the world. His critics, though, are often forgotten. And Prince was also endlessly dissected by critics in the media for the way he expressed himself and the themes of his music. But today, he's one of the most loved pop artists ever. When the Beatles first
You ain't no Michael Jackson, though.
got famous, they were considered to be a band for kids, with people making fun of their appearances, their songs, their performances. But 60 years later, the whole world sees that they changed the entire future of music forever. And so when people called Young Thug a gay loser, he just kept going. He practically lived in the studio while he made music to prove his point. And after a couple of
I ain't lying, that's bogus. They said when people call Young Thug a gay loser, like, damn, nigga.
years of constant work.
How you even know they said that? Was he one of them?
He was a star. But even when that recognition came, he never started to make sense. A violent gang leader, a gangster rapper, at one point facing 100 years in prison, but at the same time he's wearing dresses, painting his nails, telling the world he has no gender, singing in a high feminine voice in between the guttural screams and the yelling. And so even now, after the subgenre that he helped pioneer became the face of mainstream hip-hop, he's still widely disliked and misunderstood. But if you go back and listen to a Young Thug song from 2013, you'll hear it immediately. He was ready and real from the beginning. And whether or not you like his music, he's probably the greatest manifestation of authenticity that hip-hop has ever seen. It was never a performance. It was never an act. It was never a marketing tactic.
Never.
He was doing what he knew how to do. He was doing what he wanted. It was the rest of the world that had to figure out how to catch up. And some people will still be trying to catch up forever.
Still.
In your thoughts, you was wishing it's a dream. You could wake up and make your bed, move on to next scene. But in reality, no better than a fiend. If that blunt gets a spark, and you better pass to me. We gotta do better, just change with the weather. Gotta keep that skin.